This is the ACC on ESPN. Welcome back to Tallahassee. 17-10, Florida State over Boston College after 2 quarters. And if you're a BC fan right now, you might say, we got them right where we want them. They're ahead. They're not used to it.
The question is, can Florida State play from ahead in the first half? I think they'll do just fine. But the thing that they knew coming into this game, they've got their hands full with Boston College. They learned it last year when they went up to Chestnut Hill. They were behind early, but they're being tested with the power run game. And now Boston College gets the ball back in this rain. If they can tie it up, you've got to think that Florida State, will that magic run out?
BC will get the ball to start the half. Willis retreats 7 yards deep in the end zone. They'll start from the 25-yard line. Let's see if they change their offensive philosophy a little bit here in the second half. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Very little quarterback running with Tyler Murphy. You had a good explanation.
The edge defense is so good for Florida State. They've been able to run in the middle. Rashad Green with a rare drop, and then an interception where Rashad Green, they thought maybe he was interfered with. I didn't think he was, but wasn't able to finish, although with the best pass catching tight end in Florida State history and Nick O'Leary on the scene, Winston was able to find him. Very good news, though, for Florida State. Janine Edwards reporting that Rashad Green is not injured seriously, just a bang on his arm. As he went off, we were concerned maybe he broke that arm, but he was back before the end of the first half.
John Hilleman, who had 46 yards rushing in the first half, loses one here. Derek Mitchell, who was to be the starting left defensive end all year, had to move to the nose tackle spot because of the injury to Niall Lawrence. Sample was in the backfield before Hilleman had a chance to take his first step.
And as Janine mentioned at the top of the show, Mitchell was on campus in the library where there was the shooting early Thursday morning. Was able to be retreated to safety. There was 20 athletes from Florida State in that library at the time.
It would be a frightening experience for everybody. Murphy on the run, hit as he throws. Mario Edwards Jr., 290 pounds, chasing down the quarterback. Here's Janine Edwards.
Well, guys, you were wondering if Steve Addazio might change up the offensive philosophy here. He told me no. He said, I think we have a pretty good plan, and we're going to stick with it, attacking the interior and then working play action off of that. He said, but what we do need more of is more touches. We only had 24 offensively in that first half. So the plan, get our defense off the field.
Easier said than done, huh?
I was going to say, with Winston and that group, okay, give it a shot.
Murphy, empty backfield. Seminoles with a 4-man front. A couple of linebackers creep closer. Movement up front. Murphy on the run. Would have enough for the first down. Now we'll check out the penalty.
Well, Florida State was definitely in the neutral zone. The question is, did someone move? The center I've noticed a lot, Andy Gallick, when he brings his head up, he kind of jerks.
Offsides, defense. That penalty's declined. Results of the play, first down.
But I've noticed Gallick, he head up and then he points. And as he came up, the defense was moving. And I've seen Gallick do that the entire game. It's no different than he's done the entire game. However, I did think earlier in the game, you know, if he draws them off, I wonder where they'll call it. And that time they call it on the defense. Not sure if you couldn't call the center there.
Got 12 yards on 3rd and 11. Outlaw has no chance, and the Seminoles have gotten penetration on a couple of plays here to start the second half. They has obviously changed something here in the third quarter.
What it looks like to me is that Charles Kelly and his defensive staff are starting to move the defensive line a little bit. They play what's called a lot of two-gap technique, which means the defensive line kind of squats down and plays heavy and tries to mirror the offensive line. What it looks like now is they're shooting into gaps and using their speed to get away from the power of Boston College.
Another loss on the running play at 2nd and 12. Fake the fly sweep one way, go back with the same play the other way, and nothing doing. P.J. Williams, the corner.
Watch technique by Williams. Excellent job. You hear about players play with your eyes up. What a wonderful form tackle. That right there, you should just frame it and say, here's what you do. You lower your pads, you keep your head up, and you fire through it. And just before that, Williams did a wonderful job keeping his balance when a big lineman came out to try to cut him down.
Sunk his hips and just exploded into the tackle. 3rd and 11. Good protection. Murphy throws underneath. And there's the big play again from Jalen Ramsey. He was right there to break it up. You could tell last week against Miami that his physical skill and his knowledge of the game came together. He knows exactly what he's doing out there.
Let's see if this is a catch. Looks like maybe the ball was moving. No, I think they'll keep that as a catch. Not a fumble. Obviously, the runner was down, but not a fumble. Good call by the officials.
So a good defensive stand by Florida State. Rashad Green obviously well because he's back on the punt team.
Whistle was blown before the punt.
The wording on the field, the runner was stopped based on forward progress. Replay cannot review this. 4th down.
Well, so on the fumble before, well, the catch and then fumble before, because the receiver was coming backwards, his forward momentum stops, and so the play is technically dead. To me, that's just, I don't know how you call forward progress dead there and don't review it. I don't think it was a fumble, so I don't think it matters, but that one a little befuddling to me that you wouldn't be able to review that because you're saying his forward momentum stopped. Of course it stopped. It was a physical tackle right at the spot.
That sounds like a bailout to me. 53-yard kick. Back in a moment. Up tonight, and they're playing for more than just pride this year. Number 9 UCLA, number 19 USC, a couple of pretty good quarterbacks in pivotal showdown. The Pac-12 South, Saturday Night Football, 8 o'clock Eastern on ABC. Seminoles up by a touchdown takeover at their own 8-yard line. BC shows blitz, trying to get some penetration, and Dalvin Cook takes it out to about the 8-yard line.
We've been a bit remiss, Mike. We haven't said hello to the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, who have a bye.
They're watching?
They have a bye this week, and the hay is in the barn. Duke lost to North Carolina big time Thursday night, so Georgia Tech will play Georgia next week from the SEC and then take on Florida State in the ACC Championship. And we were talking to Jimbo Fisher yesterday. Of course, Georgia Tech with a power run game and option, a very good quarterback in Justin Thomas. Said, who would you rather play, Georgia Tech or Duke? And he wouldn't answer it, but his face told us he would rather play Duke in the championship, I think.
Congratulations to Paul Johnson and his kids. Jameis Winston throws to Cook, takes it out over the 20, kept the play alive, very patient, and gets the first down.
Flag on the play. We'll come back and check that when we're done. But St. John Days, the former quarterback, has moved to that fullback position. So key, and he's had just a couple of monster games. Justin Thomas can really throw. DeAndre Smelter.
Hands to the face.
We have a personal foul against Florida State. But Justin Thomas is a really dynamic player. We had a chance to meet with him last week before their big win against Clemson. And that game against Georgia Tech, of course, Florida State has to now play Florida at home, an emotional game with Will Muschamp coaching his last game. So that's going to be a tough one, in-state rival. They had a tough game against Miami last week, an in-state rival. A tough game here against Boston College. They go to Georgia. They go to that championship game in Charlotte. You just can't lock that in, I don't think, against the Yellow
Georgia Tech proved if you beat Clemson, you can beat athletic teams. That goes without saying, and that's what they put on the table for that. Winston under pressure, working on a bad ankle. He is not as mobile as he was last year. It limits him.
And he really looked slow. Look how gimpy he is a bit. And he's a taller guy. He's lanky, so he doesn't run as smoothly as a shorter guy, but he just doesn't look the same. That right ankle, he can't cut on that leg. You can see right there that is still bothering him. Again, he's not the most athletic quarterback, but he can run a lot faster and a lot more nimbly than that.
So it brings up a 3rd and 9. Be a huge stop for Boston College. They can force a punt here and get good field position. Four-man rush. Winston with a player behind him avoids him, dives out to the 16, needed to make the 18. So they will have to kick it away. Josh Keyes helped make the play.
And Winston just does not look comfortable out there right now. Pretty good. Oh boy, and very lucky there. Josh Keyes.
And then he got up woofing about it.
And that's not targeting. Keyes did not go in and launch into the head. He did not lead with the crown of his helmet. But that certainly was helmet-to-helmet contact. Not a penalty. But Winston just doesn't look like himself.
And Boston College will start from its own 38. Jameis took a shot, able to get up and shake it off. BC ball down by 7.
Presented by K Jewelers. K Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. Every kiss begins with K. Dr. Pepper, always one of a kind. And Ford, beautiful things happen when you go further.
Everybody knows Burt Reynolds is an actor, but he planted the spear here this afternoon at Florida State because he was a running back with the Seminoles. Came here in 1954 on a football scholarship. Injuries limited his career, but he came back today and was a roommate of our own Lee Corso. You can imagine how many stories those two guys have to tell.
5-yard penalty, still first down.
Burt now 78. It's hard to imagine. Had the best laugh of any actor in the history of Hollywood.
Of course, he was a quarterback in the longest yard. Still pretty good arm.
Yeah,
getting that spear
for sure.
around.
1st and 15 after the penalty. Murphy gives it off to Hillman. And they have been able to attack the middle of that Florida State defense.
I mentioned as Jameis Winston came off, he didn't look like himself. He had taken a hit to the head. I didn't want to imply that potentially Winston was concussed. Everything we saw when he went to the sideline when he got up, he did not look concussed. I meant that he didn't look the same because of his right ankle injury. But everything we've seen from Winston, he did not look. It was a good hit to the head, a legal hit, but he didn't show any symptoms. So just wanted to clear up that comment. But he does look gimpy on that right ankle. You could see on that last drive just not able to get out of harm's way as quickly as he normally does.
He is a tough customer, though. Alston on the fly sweep. Hammered as he got to the 48-yard line. That should be enough for a first down. Mario Edwards Jr., who outweighs him by about 140 pounds, made the stop.
Mario Edwards is pretty intense for a 290-pound guy. There he's lined up his defensive end. Good play call by Boston College, got the edge, but Edwards, who goes, has junior because his dad was number 15 here at Florida State as well.
They do it again. Now it's a double reverse, and Bordner, who used to be a quarterback, is going to throw off of it, intended for Alston and just off of his fingertips.
And Jalen Ramsey got away with holding. They're going to call, there's a flag in the backfield. But Jalen Ramsey absolutely reached out and grabbed Charlie Callanan as he ran by. Very lucky Ramsey is.
Personal foul, roughing the quarterback with targeting. Defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. By rule, this play is under further review.
The reason it's under further review is because with targeting, you get ejected. And that's targeting. No doubt about it. Wow, that's just a bonehead play by Matthew Thomas. Late, leaning into the head, contact initiated and forcible in the head and neck area. And this is what this rule is made for. This is absolutely what this is made for. It's the forcible contact to the head or neck area that you clearly saw there. targeting is defined by launching or leading or throwing your body. Instead of going in to make the tackle, you're actually trying to run through and cause harm. And so the replay will look at it and say, was it targeting? If it wasn't, they'll overturn the ejection. Now, you got to remember, this is in the second half, so Thomas will miss the first half if this is upheld against Florida next week. This is a young man that missed some time with an ankle injury, but one of the young linebackers they really think the world of here.
Well, he had actually worked his way into the rotation last year and had a shoulder injury. He's a redshirt freshman. He should be thrown out of this game.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. Player number 7 is disqualified from any further action.
And there is a lot of talk about this rule, and Clemson had a call a couple of weeks ago that they didn't agree with, and when you looked at it, it was close. Should they have ejected him? This is why this rule is in place. You can't do this. We've got to get it out of the game. Well officiated, well called, and I think that this right here is the reason that you have ejection in the game.
He had plenty of time to pull up and not take that shot, but he did.
And remember, number 7 won't be able to suit up or come out on the field for the first half against Florida next week.
It's a big penalty because it moves it inside the 40. Miles Willis takes it down to the 30-yard line. He'll pick up 7 yards.
And Dan Crimmins, who is watch the left side of this line as it just gets completely hooked. Every guy is hooked on that end. And that's the one thing, Mike. They weren't running outside Boston College in the first half. They were piercing the middle. And now as the defense gets a little more tired, you see all the hands on the hip. They're having a hard time getting off on the edge block as well.
14 of BC's 29 runs have been good for 6 or more yards in this game. Now Murphy goes for the end zone. Tremendous coverage. Callanan tried to draw a flag, but Ronald Darby was just running the pattern better than he was.
Well, and the fans, I think, want the penalty on Callanan.
Yes.
Because, as you said, Darby is running the route here, and I think you should call that. The defensive player has position. Callanan clearly goes in to disrupt the arms of Darby. I think that should have been offensive pass interference. I agree with the fans here.
And on the previous play, when they got the edge, there were a couple of good holds, too, that they got away with.
It's only holding if they call it.
Said by a former offensive lineman. Murphy on a high snap. Still has room to run. And for one of the few times Murphy takes off, gets down to the 20. Bordner threw him a good block.
This is just really good. Here comes Bordner, but watch the block down on this side. They're just blowing up that side. Nobody is home. I don't. If I'm Boston College and I'm Ryan Day, the offensive coordinator, I would continue to challenge the right side of this defense for Florida State. They are being washed inside every play to that side.
And it looked like Desmond Holland, number 11, did him a big favor. He just crashed down and left that whole side open. When you have a 3-4 and a defensive end comes down inside when he shouldn't and leaves a 10-yard hole in the defense.
Well, this is just a misread by a young running back. If Hillman stays on his track, there's a 5-6 yard gain. It's exactly what Boston College wanted in the young running back bouncing. And there's a running back coach telling him, stay on your track. Yes. Don't bounce it outside. Now, this is a young man. He'll get it, but the left side of Boston College's offensive line is taken over. The young back's got to stay behind him.
Some good-looking freshmen. Quarterback keeper Murphy, 5, touchdown. Tyler Murphy, nice fake. Really sold it, and it's so much better because that's the play they've been running all game.
And you mentioned the defensive end coming inside. That time it was DeMarcus Walker who just sparked all the way down inside, number 44. Watch how far he comes down inside. And because of the motion, because of the turnover, just a terrible read by DeMarcus Walker. He looks to me like the guy who's got the quarterback. Well, he wasn't taking the quarterback there.
And then there's nobody home.
And I think it was that shift late that brought the safety over, and then DeMarcus Walker comes down and nobody's home. The right side of Florida State's defense was just tattered during this drive.
BC gave the Seminoles fits last year. They're doing it again.
the home of the new college football playoff.
And this game with playoff implications, we have a 17-17 tie. The third-ranked Seminoles going for their 27th in a row in a dogfight as we continue Dr. Pepper's Championship Drive Game of the Week. Now let's take a look at this week's rankings brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
The confusing one, I think, for most people around the country when they saw Oregon ahead of Florida State. Oregon, of course, lost to a 20-plus point underdog in Arizona earlier in the year. And when we were meeting with Jimbo Fisher yesterday, he was pretty irate about how the system, this whole idea of game control and everyone talking about who controlled what game. And I agreed with Jimbo that it just sounded like a bunch of people talking about football instead of watching it and really analyzing who's better. I hope, and I've said, I hope that they're actually watching film and studying teams and comparing them.
Winston, perfect throw to O'Leary up to the 48-yard line. A strike. I have read about game control. I understand what they're trying to do. To me, it's like baseball sabermetrics. I understand it. I don't appreciate it very much.
Well, I just don't like the idea of a bunch of people sitting around a conference room saying, well, they controlled this part of the game and not that. If they're not looking A and B teams on the screen and literally looking at the offensive line and the defensive line and the receivers and how they play every day, how they play as a group on defense, if that's not what they're studying, we've got to rethink this committee if that's not what they're doing.
Winston hangs in the pocket, drops it for Williams. He's forced out of bounds at the Boston College 48-yard line by backup middle linebacker Sean Duggan.
And to go a little further in that conversation, one of the things that the committee has said, they want to be more transparent than the basketball committee. But unfortunately, I think what they're doing is they're causing some confusion because they come out every week and talk about some different things that they look at that you're not sure what they're looking at. And they actually got some heat from the basketball community this week who said, we're not football. We don't want to know. We don't want to know what Oz is doing as they're picking our team.
Winston fakes the toss, gets it to Dalvin Cook.
This was before the last snap. He's trying to get this. And
that's priceless.
Right, and
says,
because
come on, I got a play to run.
But Florida State had substituted, so the officials were giving the defense the time that they are allotted to change. So that was good officiating.
Nice catch by Green. Really stretched out in traffic to snare that one.
And Jameis Winston saying, hey, they had a hold of his jersey. I don't know if they did, but that was a snatch. We saw Green drop a pass for a touchdown earlier, and then he got hit really hard in the arm, went off the field, went into the locker room in the first half. Good for Seminole fans to see him back.
Florida State has come out throwing on this drive, and now Cook inside the 25 to the 23. First run on this drive.
This Florida State team.
Oh, no, Larry's gimpy.
Boy, he is. And O'Leary took a big hit at the end of the game against Miami. He had a terrific block on that play on the edge. But he got whacked at the end of the Miami game, hit his forearm, got hit in the head. He was okay, but they said he was awfully sore after that ball game last Saturday night.
Blitz coming. Green ridden out of bounds. He wants a flag, so do the fans. Manuel Esprilla, the corner. Looked like a lot more than hand fighting on that pattern.
Remember, the official who calls this, yeah, you got to call that every time.
It's something. It's either illegal contact or interference.
And the field judge there throwing his hat because the receiver was going out of bounds. He should have also been grabbing his flag. That was, in my opinion, clearly defensive pass interference on Esprilla.
But as you said earlier, they don't throw the flag.
It's not a penalty.
Florida State fans are going to disagree with that interpretation. Pressure coming again. Winston in trouble. Somehow got out of there and threw it as he was going down. Had a receiver in the area, so it's not going to be grounding. Strezak with pressure on Jameis Winston, who is limited by that sore ankle.
And what a good save of about 7 or 8 yards for your field goal kicker. And not that Aguayo really needs it. He's the best kicker in the country. But Winston, and this is something that Boston College learned last year, they missed 5 sacks on him because of his strength and his ability to stay up. And that time, you're right, Mike, he flipped it back, but there was a running back standing right there and saved all that yardage for Aguayo.
Aguayo from 40s made it from 37, and this one drifting left, and Aguayo misses the 3rd of his career, just outside the left upright.
A little bit of a high snap, it looked like, from Steven Gabbard, who's a true freshman. Ball got down by Beatty, the punter, but foot and a half to the left. Beatty, the holder, did a pretty good job getting it down, but it was a high snap to start, and let's not forget how much it's been raining here, so wouldn't be surprised if Aguayo's foot slipped it a little bit when he planted.
That is the first time he has ever missed here in Tallahassee. And a big break for Boston College with 3:36 to go, 3rd quarter. Crowd in a frenzy right now. The power running of Hillman picks up about 7. We check in with Robert Flores. Robert. Robert, no such breathing room for the Seminoles. And a first down for Boston College. They take it out to the 37, and we check in with Janine Edwards.
Well, guys, I can tell you that Boston College's offensive line came off the field after their last possession absolutely gassed. They were exhausted. But you know what? They're invigorated, too, because they know that they have got Florida State right where they want them. They've been talking about it the last few minutes. We've got to dig in here. We've got to fight. And Tyler Murphy saying, this is the fist fight, guys. This is where I need you the most.
Janine, adrenaline is wonderful stuff. Murphy to the flat and got it complete to Robert Wolford, who makes his 32nd catch of the season.
Wonderful play fake there. Able to get Wolford out into the flat.
Excuse me, I misstated that. It's his 5th catch of the season
32.
for 32 yards.
32 would be a lot for a
Yes,
fullback.
it would.
Good catch.
Yes, it would.
I was just buying it.
I sold it as well as I could. Outlow hit in the backfield. DeMarcus Walker on a blitz.
Well, this is the exact same thing Walker did on the touchdown earlier. Now, this time you can see there is a man who would have the quarterback. Last time there was not a man on that side, so this time 44 able to slant down inside and make the tackle that he was trying to make on the touchdown a moment ago to Tyler Murphy.
3rd and 5 with the clock ticking down here in the 3rd quarter. It's as loud as this crowd has been all day long. Murphy with 4 wide receivers. Alston fakes the fly sweep. Murphy dropped the ball. They had an opportunity to convert on 3rd down, and he simply dropped it.
Yeah, Murphy, I think, tried to get a little greedy here. As he was riding the option, he just continued to hold that ball in there instead of handing it to Alston. Oh, no, he went, and we saw that earlier. He bumped into the fullback and fumbled it, but Murphy that time, as Alston is going by, faking, this was going to be a run, and they had it set up. The entire left side, like we had seen before, had done their job, and Murphy unfortunately fumbles it.
Needed to have better ball security there. Rashad Green takes the punt, returns it for 5 yards. Monday Night Football with Joe Flacco and the Ravens visiting the Superdome to take on the Saints and Drew Brees. It all starts at 8:15 Eastern on ESPN, and watch ESPN. No other night is Monday night. I thought that was a big possession for Boston College.
And unfortunate for them that another unforced error cost them. I think that was a first down play. It was exactly what they wanted. They collapsed the right side of the line again. They had a polar ceiling.
Can't give the Seminoles the ball. That time Green had a knee on the ground as he made that catch, making sure he secured it at the 38.
And a rare inaccurate throw by Jameis Winston. This one a little low. And making Green stop. Otherwise, Green easily picks up the first down and maybe more. Green very good in traffic. Almost took that one-handed catch at the end of the game against Miami for a touchdown after making a defended miss.
Cook with a big breakout run across midfield. Brown pushed him out of bounds, preventing further damage.
Well, excellent cut. Yeah, and Nick O'Leary on the edge just got great movement. That ball was supposed to bounce outside. O'Leary's guy had jumped to the outside, and 35 just kept chugging his legs and got really good push.
This presentation of college football will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations.